Chapter 1: The Summer of Yes. Graduation is supposed to feel like an ending. But to Bella Swan, it feels more like stepping off a cliff in the dark, terrifying and inevitable all at once. The gym is a sauna of polyester gowns and nervous sweat. Caps fly through the air like confetti made of dreams, teachers dab at their eyes with tissues that smell like hope and hairspray, and somewhere in the blur of speeches about futures and possibilities, Bella walks across the stage, accepts her diploma and trips, spectacularly, in front of half the senior class. The stumble echoes in the sudden hush. A few people laugh. Most pretend not to notice. It's fine. Really. She's made peace with gravity's personal vendetta against her. Charlie grins proudly from the bleachers, camera clicking like a heartbeat. Angela dissolves into tears and hugs her like they're about to be separated by war instead of different colleges. Mike gives her a lopsided high five that misses by 3 inches because of course it does. And as she walks out into the June sunlight in her wrinkled gown, diploma clutched like a lifeline, Bella can't shake the feeling that she just walked out of one life and into another. Problem is, she has absolutely no idea what this new one is supposed to look like. That night, the Cullen side of her life shows up for the party. Rialto Beach always smells like salt and secrets. It's past 10 when Bella steps onto the sand, barefoot, her sandals dangling from one hand like surrender flags, a hoodie zipped halfway over a sundress she'd forgotten existed until tonight. The stars stretch endlessly above the black water, and the bonfire crackles with the kind of warmth that makes you believe in magic. Emmett is already there, of course, stacking logs that could double as telephone poles, laughing so hard he startles an entire flock of gulls into indignant flight. His joy is infectious, ridiculous, and completely unself-conscious. Rosalie lounges near the flames like she was born to be worshipped by firelight, all golden limbs and knife-sharp smiles, tossing popcorn into Emmett's mouth with the precision of a trained assassin. She's traded her usual designer armor for cut-off shorts and a pale pink halter top that probably costs more than most people's cars. Somehow, she still looks like she belongs on the cover of Vogue. Bella doesn't see Jasper right away. But she feels him. That subtle shift in the atmosphere, like the moment before lightning strikes. The way her pulse ticks up and her skin prickles even before she spots him leaning against Emmett's Jeep, arms crossed, boots buried in the sand, eyes tracking her like she's the only story worth reading in a world full of books. He looks unfair. Devastatingly, criminally unfair. Button-down sleeves rolled to his elbows, collar open just enough to make her wonder what lies beneath. His golden eyes catch the firelight and throw it back, sharp and slow and dangerous as a blade drawn in silk. "Look who decided to show up for her own graduation after-party," Rosalie calls out, grin wicked and knowing. Emmett sweeps Bella off the ground in a hug that smells like bonfire smoke and coconut sunscreen and summer promises. Hell yeah. My favorite human is now officially still very breakably human. But graduated. Thanks, Bella wheezes against his shoulder. I think you might have actually cracked a rib this time. He sets her down with exaggerated care and presses a red Solo cup into her hands. Victory punch. Don't ask what's in it. Just know it has serious character. Bella takes a tentative sip and immediately coughs. That character is mostly peach schnapps and what might be lighter fluid. Gives it personality, Emmett beams, entirely unrepentant. Wait till you taste round 2, Rosalie adds with a wink that could start wars. Jasper joins their circle like smoke drifting in, silent, inevitable, impossible to ignore. Don't let Emmett pour the next one, he drawls, voice honey-slow and tinged with amusement. Last time he played bartender, Peter ended up trying to ride a deer through downtown Port Angeles. Bella turns toward him, heart performing gymnastics in her chest. Hi, Jasper. Evening, darlin'. He doesn't smile, not quite. Just that slight curve of his mouth, like he's savoring the taste of her name. The air between them hums with electricity, thick enough to cut. She wonders, not for the first time, what he's feeling when he looks at her. What storms are brewing behind those impossibly golden eyes? The fire blazes higher as the night deepens. Music drifts from someone's Bluetooth speaker, something with a bass line that thrums in your chest. People dance in the sand, swim in the dark water, play cards in circles illuminated by phone flashlights. Emmett attempts karaoke using a stick as a microphone, his falsetto so absurd it makes seagulls flee in terror. Bella finds herself at the edge of the firelight, toes buried in sand that's gone cool and soft. She should feel overwhelmed, she usually does at parties. Should feel awkward and out of place among these beautiful, otherworldly people. But tonight, something is different. The air itself feels electric, charged with possibility. Jasper settles beside her without invitation. Not close enough to touch. Not far enough to pretend he isn't there. She glances sideways at his profile, sharp and perfect against the firelight. "Can I ask you something?" "You just did." She rolls her eyes. "What are you doing here?" "With us." "With them." "You never seem like the bonfire party type." He's quiet for a long moment, staring into the flames like they hold answers. Then, "You learn to love the fire when you've spent too long in the cold." She studies his face, looking for cracks in that careful composure. That's either really profound or really emo. He huffs a laugh, soft, surprised. Could be both. They sit in comfortable silence. Kind that wraps around you like a favorite sweater, warm and full of unspoken understanding. Bella watches the flames dance, hypnotic and wild. "I spent so long saying no to things." Jasper tilts his head, curiosity flickering across his features. "What kind of things?" "Everything. Parties. Adventures. Fun." She picks up a handful of sand and lets it sift through her fingers. "I always played it safe. Stayed small. Stayed invisible." He says nothing, but she feels the weight of his attention like sunlight on her skin. "I want to stop doing that," she says suddenly, the words tumbling out before she can second-guess them. "I want this summer to be different. I want to say yes to things. Everything." His eyebrows lift slightly. "Everything? Anything new? Any experience I wouldn't normally choose?" She turns to face him fully, pulse hammering. "Even the scary ones? Even if it's reckless?" His voice has dropped to barely above a whisper. She swallows hard, tasting salt air and possibility. "Especially then." The fire crackles and sparks drift upward like tiny stars. Jasper leans in, just slightly, but enough that she catches his scent, something wild and clean and impossibly tempting. "So what you're saying is, I plan it and you say yes?" Heat pools low in her stomach. "You'd be in charge?" His smile is slow, predatory. "Call it guided chaos." She stares at him, at the way the firelight turns his eyes molten gold, at the promise and the threat written in the sharp angles of his face. There's something ancient in him tonight, something dangerous and achingly alive that calls to the part of her she's kept locked away for 18 years. Her heart hammers against her ribs like a caged bird. "Deal," she whispers. His grin is slow and wicked and full of dark promises. "Good girl." The words send electricity racing down her spine. She wakes late the next morning to sunlight streaming through her curtains and a note taped to her bedroom door. "Be ready at 10. Wear sneakers you don't mind getting dirty. Bring a towel and a sense of adventure. No makeup, you won't need armor where we're going. Whitlock. P.S. First test, no chickening out. I'll know if you do." She laughs out loud, the sound bright and startled in the quiet morning. Her pulse races with anticipation and terror in equal measure. And for the first time in her life, saying yes feels like coming alive. Chapter 2. The Swing. Forks may not have a lot of things, but it has trees. ancient, towering sentinels that have watched over secrets for longer than the town has had a name. And Bella Swan is currently staring up at one that looks like it crawled straight out of a summer camp horror story, the kind where counselors disappear and nobody asks the right questions. The oak is massive, its branches twisted into gnarled arms that stretch possessively over a clear, glittering bend of river. The very top, looped around the thickest limb like a noose made of hope, is a weathered rope swing. Dangles 30 feet above the water, swaying slightly in the morning breeze. An invitation. A dare. A death trap disguised as fun. Behind her, Jasper Whitlock leans against the hood of Rosalie's borrowed Jeep, arms crossed, boots dusty from the hike down, aviator sunglasses reflecting her pale, terrified face back at her. He looks like he belongs on a vintage postcard titled Trouble You'll Regret and Want Anyway. That rope's older than me, Bella mutters, craning her neck to follow its frayed length. Doubtful, Jasper says, pushing off the Jeep with fluid grace. But maybe close. She turns slowly, already knowing she'll find him smirking. This is your idea of easing me into things? Didn't say anything about ease, he drawls, that wicked grin spreading across his face like sunrise over sin. You said yes to everything. No take-backs, darlin'. Bella sighs, fingers twitching nervously at the hem of her faded Forks high t-shirt. She's dressed for adventure, sneakers that have seen better days, cut-off denim shorts that make her legs look endless and pale, the towel he'd insisted on draped over her shoulder like a security blanket. Her hair is already frizzing from the damp, foresty air that clings to everything here like a living thing. She's positive she looks like a drowned squirrel having an existential crisis. Jasper, naturally, looks like he was carved from marble by an artist who understood the devastating power of male beauty. His white t-shirt clings to muscles that shouldn't exist on someone technically dead, and his forearms, God, why are vampire forearms so criminally unfair? Flex and shift as he reaches up to test the rope's integrity. He gives it a few experimental tugs, nods once with satisfaction, then glances over at her with those impossibly golden eyes. Still breathing. Barely. Good. Means you're alive. Without warning, he takes 2 measured steps back, then runs forward with the kind of fluid, predatory grace that makes her stomach flip. He grabs the rope and swings out in one terrifying, perfect arc over the water. At the highest point, where Bella is certain she would simply let go and plummet to her death, he releases with calculated precision and cuts through the air like a knife. The splash is clean, powerful. He disappears beneath the surface for what feels like an eternity, then emerges with a shake of his head, dark hair slicked back, water streaming down the sharp planes of his face. Bella's mouth goes desert dry. Her stomach is performing Olympic-level gymnastics, equal parts terror and something that might be lust but could also be a stress-induced heart attack. He floats on his back, arms spread like a fallen angel, and grins up at her. Your turn, darlin'. Bella stands at the edge of the riverbank, staring at the rope swing like it personally murdered her entire family. Jasper floats with maddening casualness, head tipped back to catch the dappled sunlight filtering through the canopy. He looks smug. Devastatingly, infuriatingly smug. What if I fall wrong and break my neck? She calls out, voice pitched higher than she'd like. Then I'll fix it. What if I drown? I'll save you. What if I scream the entire way down and traumatize every woodland creature in a 5-mile radius? His grin turns absolutely wicked. Then I'll still be proud. Bella mutters something uncomplimentary about vampires and their death wishes, backs up 10 feet, and takes a deep breath that tastes like pine needles and pure terror. Her heart is attempting to break free from her ribcage. The rope swing is just rope and wood and physics. Just one new thing in a summer full of them. You said yes, she reminds herself. No chickening out. She runs. First few steps are pure momentum and panic. Then her hands close around the rope, rough, warm from the sun, and suddenly she's airborne. There's a half second of perfect, weightless terror where she forgets everything. Her name, gravity, the fact that humans aren't meant to fly. The wind screams past her ears like a banshee. Her stomach drops into her shoes and then, let go, some primal instinct whispers. Trust the fall. She does. The water rushes up to meet her, cold and alive and shocking. She hits with less grace than Jasper but more enthusiasm, disappearing beneath the surface in a tangle of limbs and bubbles. When she breaks through, gasping and cursing creatively, Jasper is right there, close enough to catch her if she'd needed it, far enough away to let her have this moment. His grin could light up the entire Olympic peninsula. She floats on her back, hair fanned out like dark silk, blinking up at the canopy of green and gold above them. Her heart is still hammering, but now it's from exhilaration instead of fear. Okay, she pants, treading water with graceless determination. Holy shit, that was amazing. Language, Miss Swan, he drawls, but his eyes are dancing. She splashes him. Don't be smug. How are you not freezing to death? This water is like liquid ice. He chuckles, the sound rich and warm despite the chill surrounding them. Perks of being dead. Bella floats closer, not quite touching, but close enough to feel the subtle current he creates moving through the water. Close enough to study the way sunlight plays across his skin like he's carved from pale marble. You're not really dead, she says quietly. Aren't I? She watches him, noting the way his chest doesn't rise and fall, the way he floats without effort, the way he seems to glow faintly in the dappled light. But there's something else, something in his eyes when he looks at her that feels very, very alive. You feel alive, she whispers. He goes perfectly still, staring at her like she's just said something dangerous. And maybe she has. They dry off on the sun-warmed rocks afterward, sitting close enough that she can feel the impossible heat radiating from his marble skin. Bella wraps her towel around her shoulders like armor. Jasper doesn't need one. He never shivers, never shows any sign that the temperature affects him at all. A dragonfly, iridescent blue-green, lands delicately on her bare knee. Stays for a moment, wings trembling in the breeze, then flits away toward the deeper shadows. You know, she says after a comfortable silence, watching the insect disappear, I thought saying yes would be scarier. He glances over, one golden eyebrow arched in question. And today wasn't terrifying? Oh, it was. She laughs, the sound bright and surprised. I just thought. I don't know. I thought saying yes to everything would make me lose control. But I feel more like I'm finally getting it back. Jasper nods slowly, understanding flickering across his features. Most people spend their entire lives just surviving. Very few ever really live. She nudges his marble-hard knee with hers, marveling at the contrast between his stone-like skin and the warmth that seems to emanate from within. And you? Do you live? His smile shifts, not his usual devastating smirk, but something softer around the edges. Sadder, like an old wound that never quite healed. Sometimes, he says quietly, when someone reminds me how. The words hang between them, heavy with meaning she's not sure she's ready to unpack. They stop at Millie's Diner on the way back into town, a hole-in-the-wall place with checkered linoleum and vinyl booths that have seen better decades. Jasper claims it has the best pancakes north of Portland, though Bella wonders when he became such a connoisseur of small-town breakfast joints. She orders a stack that could feed a small army, drowning them in strawberries and enough whipped cream to qualify as a natural disaster. Jasper orders black coffee and a side of bacon, watching with obvious amusement as their waitress, a blonde with too much makeup and not enough subtlety, flirts shamelessly with him while refilling his cup. He's polite but distant, offering nothing more than that devastating smile that could make angels weep. Bella is still damp around the edges, bare legs stretched out in the booth, hair an absolute disaster, and she can't stop grinning. She feels wild, reckless, alive in a way she's never experienced before. When the check comes, Jasper snatches it before she can even reach for her purse. You didn't have to. Let me, Bella. The way he says her name, like it's something precious, something worth savoring, makes her stomach flutter in ways that have nothing to do with rope swings and everything to do with the way he's looking at her. Sighed as he walks her to her ancient Chevy truck, he pauses beside the driver's door. You did good today. I screamed like a banshee and probably scared every fish in the river. You flew. His voice is soft, proud. You trusted the fall. Something warm and dangerous unfurls in her chest. Without thinking, she rises onto her toes and presses her lips to his cheek, quick, soft, sun-warmed and sweet. His jaw goes rigid beneath her mouth. Not from discomfort, but from restraint so fierce she can feel it in the tension of his muscles, the way his hands clench at his sides. Thank you, Jasper. His voice comes out rough, strained. Tomorrow's going to be worse. She laughs, wild and bright and utterly fearless. I'll still say yes. He watches her climb into the cab of her truck, that wicked glint back in his golden eyes, dangerous and full of dark promises. I'm counting on it, darlin'. As she drives away, Bella catches sight of him in her rear-view mirror, still standing beside the road, hands in his pockets, watching her disappear around the bend like he's memorizing the moment. Her cheek still tingles where her lips touched his skin. Tomorrow can't come fast enough. Chapter 3. Sundress and Sin. Bella wakes to sunlight streaming through her window like liquid gold and a notification on her phone that makes her heart skip. Not a text, an actual photo of notebook paper in Whitlock's unmistakable handwriting, all sharp angles and controlled chaos. Be ready by 4. Wear a sundress. Bring ID. And don't ask questions. Your chaos concierge. Below it, in smaller script PS, no backing out. And absolutely no sneakers today. Bella squints at the screen, then laughs out loud in the quiet morning air. The man has an aesthetic, she'll give him that. And apparently a plan that's going to kill her. Forks at 4 p.m. in early June is a warm, golden haze that makes everything look like a vintage photograph. Bella stands in front of her mirror, smoothing down a deep navy sundress she'd forgotten she owned. One that schemes her knees and makes her skin look like porcelain. She's tied a cream cardigan around her waist like armor, braided her hair loosely over one shoulder, and debated putting on lipstick for a full 10 minutes before deciding against it. She looks pretty. Not devastating, not model gorgeous like Rosalie, but pretty in a way that makes her feel dangerous. When Jasper's car pulls into the driveway, her pulse kicks into overdrive. He steps out wearing dark jeans that fit like a sin and a black button-up with the sleeves rolled to his elbows, collar unbuttoned just enough to suggest he has a personal vendetta against restraint. No sunglasses today, just those liquid gold eyes that seem to see straight through to her soul. He takes one look at her and whistles, slow and appreciative, the sound curling through the air like smoke. You look like trouble, he drawls. She smooths her skirt with suddenly nervous hands. You told me to dress nice. He opens the passenger door with exaggerated chivalry, but his eyes never leave her face. I said sundress. I didn't say kill me. Bella laughs as she slides into the leather seat, hyper-aware of how the dress rides up slightly, how his gaze follows the movement. Her heart's already racing, and they haven't even left Charlie's driveway. This summer is going to be the death of her. They drive for almost an hour through winding country roads that smell like pine and possibility. Bella doesn't ask where they're going. Part of the deal, part of the trust she's placing in his capable hands. Instead, she lets the wind whip through the open windows, her hand trailing outside to catch the current, fingers dancing through invisible waves. Jasper has music playing, bluesy guitar and gravel vocals, something sultry and slow that seems to pulse in time with her heartbeat. Fits him perfectly, all shadow and heat and barely contained wildness. Or maybe it's fitting her now too, this new version of herself that says yes to rope swings and mysterious adventures. He glances at her at a red light, eyes catching the late afternoon sun. You nervous yet? Should I be? His grin is pure wickedness wrapped in southern charm. Always, the flutter in her stomach intensifies. They arrive at what can only be described as a honky-tonk fever dream. The iron bit squats beside the highway like something out of an old western, complete with swinging saloon doors and a glowing neon sign missing half its letters. Through the windows, Bella can see the unmistakable silhouette of a mechanical bull, and her stomach drops straight to her toes. She steps out of the car very, very slowly. No. Jasper leans casually against the hood, looking like he owns the place and everything in it. Yes. She crosses her arms, sundress fluttering in the evening breeze. You're going to make me ride that death machine? It's all about core strength and confidence, he says with the kind of easy assurance that comes from never having been thrown by an angry robot cow. I have neither of those things. He opens the door for her with a theatrical bow, eyes dancing with mischief. Then prepare to develop both, darlin'. The iron bit smells like leather and spilled beer and sawdust, with an underlying note of something that might be regret or might just be decades of bad decisions. There are more cowboy hats than teeth, and the bartender looks like he could bench press a pickup truck without breaking a sweat. What surprises Bella is how Jasper is greeted like returning royalty. People wave from across the room. A man in a BOLO tie actually fist bumps him. A woman with silver hair and laugh lines calls out, "Well, look what the cat dragged in." Bella raises an eyebrow as they find seats at the bar. You bring dates here often? He leans in close, breath warm against her ear. You're the first. The way he says it, quiet, certain like a promise, makes her toes curl in her sandals and heat pool low in her belly. He orders her a ginger beer in a frosted mug and slides it across the scarred wooden bar with the kind of casual grace that makes simple gestures look like seduction. You're up in about 20 minutes, he mentions casually, like he's discussing the weather. Bella nearly chokes on her drink. You signed me up already? What kind of tour guide would I be if I didn't plan ahead? She stares at him, caught between terror and exhilaration. I'm going to die. Not on my watch. She's number 6 on the list, which means she has 5 riders to watch and learn from, including one woman in snakeskin boots and a fringed shirt who lasts 47 seconds and blows a kiss to the cheering crowd like she's accepting an Oscar. When the announcer calls Bella Swan over the crackling sound system, she swears the entire bar holds its collective breath. She can feel dozens of eyes tracking her movement as she approaches the mechanical bull, which looks significantly larger and more intimidating up close. The bull is hot to the touch, humming with hidden machinery that promises pain. Bella climbs on with all the grace of a newborn deer, hyper-aware of her sundress, of Jasper watching from the sidelines with his arms crossed and one eyebrow raised in silent challenge. The machine kicks to life with a mechanical growl. First 5 seconds are pure, unadulterated panic. The bull bucks and spins with vicious enthusiasm, and Bella's only coherent thought is, why did I agree to this? Then something shifts. Maybe it's muscle memory from childhood horseback riding lessons, or maybe it's pure stubborn determination, but she finds the rhythm. She leans into the motion instead of fighting it. Her grip tightens, her core engages, and suddenly she's not just hanging on, she's riding. Crowd starts cheering. Someone whoops. Bella feels wild and reckless and completely alive. She lasts 22 seconds before the bull finally wins, sending her tumbling onto the padded mat with a graceless oof and a laugh that's half adrenaline, half pure victory. The bar erupts in applause. Jasper is at her side before she can even sit up, offering a hand she doesn't technically need but takes anyway, because the feel of his skin against hers sends electricity straight to her bones. 22 seconds, he says, pride evident in his voice. Not bad for a first-timer. You owe me the world's best foot massage, she gasps, still breathless and grinning. His eyes go molten. Gladly. Later, they commandeer a corner booth with a basket of curly fries and a chocolate milkshake with 2 straws like they're teenagers at a drive-in. Bella still feels like she's vibrating from the adrenaline, or maybe from the way Jasper's thigh keeps brushing against hers under the table, sending sparks racing along her nerve endings. She's telling him about her brief career as a horseback rider when she absent-mindedly licks whipped cream off her straw. Casual gesture makes him go perfectly still, his eyes tracking the movement of her tongue with predatory focus. He clears his throat, voice rougher than usual. "You keep doing things like that, and I'm gonna stop playing nice." She pauses, straw still between her lips, pulse suddenly hammering. "What if I want you to stop playing nice?" His expression shifts, becomes something darker and infinitely more dangerous. The heat in his golden eyes turns molten. "Careful," he says softly, leaning closer until she can smell his cologne and something uniquely him. "You say yes to me and I won't stop." Bella's breath catches, but she doesn't look away. "I know." Promise hangs between them like a lit fuse. The drive home is quieter, charged with a different kind of energy. The sun is setting behind the tree line, painting everything in shades of amber and rose gold. Bella rests her head against the leather seat, watching the blur of green and light through half-closed eyes, feeling languid and reckless and completely transformed. When Jasper pulls into her driveway and kills the engine, he doesn't immediately move to open her door like he usually does. Instead, he sits back, hands still on the steering wheel, looking at her like she's something precious and dangerous all at once. Bella turns toward him, tucking one leg under her. "Thank you for today. Even if my spine will never forgive me." He chuckles, the sound warm and rich in the intimate space of the car. "You were brilliant up there." I screamed like a cartoon character. And looked absolutely gorgeous doing it. Compliment hits her like a physical thing, heat spreading across her cheeks and down her throat. Before she can lose her nerve, she leans across the console and kisses him. Not his cheek this time. His mouth. Soft. Brave. Curious. He freezes for half a heartbeat, surprise flickering across his features, then kisses her back with aching slowness. Like he's been waiting for permission. Like this is the first sip of water after a lifetime in the desert. His hand comes up to cup her face, thumb brushing across her cheekbone with reverent gentleness. When they finally break apart, both breathing hard, his eyes have gone dark as midnight. "Say yes," he whispers against her lips. She leans in again, close enough to taste the words. "Always." This time when he kisses her, there's nothing gentle about it. Chapter 4, yes, with a side of chaos. Bella barely has time to recover from kissing Jasper, actually kissing him, lips still tingling with the memory of his mouth on hers, before Emmett starts banging on the front door of the Swan House at noon the next day like a one-man marching band having an enthusiastic breakdown. The sound echoes through the quiet morning like thunder, and Bella jolts awake from dreams filled with golden eyes and dangerous promises. Charlie, already halfway to his fishing boat with tackle box in hand, yells from the porch without breaking stride. "You break that door and you're buying me a new one, Emmett McCarty." Emmett's booming voice carries easily through the walls. "Not breaking, just enthusiastically greeting your beautiful daughter." Bella stumbles downstairs in pajama shorts that have seen better years and an oversized Forks high hoodie, her hair piled in a sleep-wrecked knot that defies both gravity and good sense. She yanks open the door and glares up at Emmett's grinning face. "You do realize this is a house, not a war drum, right?" Emmett beams like she's just complimented his life choices. "Good. You're vertical and breathing. That's more than I was expecting after yesterday." His grin turns wicked. "How was your ride home with Jasper?" Heat floods her cheeks. "Emmett, throw on something cute but comfortable, grab that fancy camera Charlie got you for graduation, and let's go." "Go where?" "Rose and I planned a thing." And miracle of miracles, Whitlock actually said yes. Bella squints at him through the morning sunlight. "Jasper voluntarily agreed to one of your plans? Are you sure he wasn't having a stroke?" He does say yes when Rose and I refuse to shut up for 3 consecutive hours. Now move it, Buttercup. We're burning daylight. 20 minutes later, Bella finds herself in the back seat of Rosalie's cherry red convertible with the top down and her hair whipping around her face like she's in a music video. Emmett has commandeered the playlist and is controlling it like a man possessed, switching between classic rock and what sounds like the soundtrack to a romantic comedy from 1987. Jasper is behind the wheel because Rosalie refuses to drive her own car. "I don't drive, darling, I'm driven." And Emmett is legally banned from the driver's seat after what he refers to as the Great Milkshake Incident of 2023, which apparently involved a drive-through, 3 fire trucks, and a very unhappy dairy cow. Rosalie, resplendent in sunglasses the size of small satellites and a pale yellow sundress that makes her look like a Vogue editorial brought to life, turns in the passenger seat to face Bella with a smile sharp enough to cut glass. "We're going thrifting," she announces like she's declaring war on boring fashion. "And then we're doing an impromptu photo shoot." "What?" Bella's voice climbs an octave. "I didn't agree to." "Say yes, Bella," Jasper murmurs from the driver's seat, eyes still on the winding road ahead. But she catches his gaze in the rearview mirror, golden and amused and absolutely devastating. Bella crosses her arms, fighting a losing battle against her own excitement. "You people are completely chaotic." "And you love it," Rosalie replies with smug certainty. She's absolutely not wrong. The thrift store is a dusty wonderland of forgotten treasures and questionable fashion choices. Racks upon racks of vintage dresses, moth-eaten coats, cowboy boots with stories to tell, and sequin disasters that probably seemed like good ideas in 1983. There's even an entire section dedicated to wigs, novelty sunglasses, and costume jewelry that could blind someone from space. Emmett immediately gravitates toward a silk kimono in shocking pink, pairs it with cat-eye sunglasses covered in rhinestones, and strikes a pose that would make runway models weep with envy. "Behold," he declares in a falsetto that could shatter windows. "Miss Forks 1972 in all her glory." Rosalie discovers a beaded flapper dress that fits her like it was tailored by angels and straps on 3-inch heels she insists on wearing while navigating the entire store. She looks like she stepped out of a Gatsby fever dream, all dangerous curves and vintage glamour. Jasper doesn't participate in the costume parade. He's too busy watching Bella with that steady, unreadable gaze that makes her feel like the most fascinating thing in any room. But he does disappear into the racks and emerge holding a retro 60s sundress in the most perfect shade of sunflower yellow. He holds it out to her with a slight lift of his eyebrow, a gesture so casual it should be illegal. "Wear this for the shoot." Bella takes the dress, hyper-aware of how their fingers brush during the exchange. "You picked out a dress for me?" His smile is slow, predatory. "I pick out lots of things for you, darlin'. You just don't know it yet." Her breath catches in her throat. Promise in his voice makes her knees go weak and her pulse kick into overdrive. She takes the dress and doesn't ask what else he's been picking out for her. She's not sure she's ready for that answer. They drive to a field outside Forks that looks like something from a fairy tale. Tall grass swaying in the breeze, wildflowers scattered like nature's confetti, and golden light filtering through the trees like liquid sunshine. Rosalie transforms into a photographer with the intensity of a woman possessed, directing everyone with the authority of a Hollywood producer and the precision of a general planning a military campaign. Emmett holds a professional reflector he claims doubles as a satellite dish for communicating with aliens, and Jasper mostly leans against an ancient oak tree, watching Bella with that devastating focus that makes her forget her own name. The yellow dress fits like it was made for her, flowing and vintage and making her feel like a different version of herself. Braver, wilder, more alive. She spins until the skirt flares around her legs. She runs through the tall grass with her arms outstretched like she's trying to catch the wind. She poses with an old bicycle Rosalie mysteriously produced from the back of the Jeep, laughing so hard she snorts and doesn't even care. And Jasper smiles. Actually, genuinely smiles. Full teeth, eyes crinkling at the corners, light dancing in his golden gaze like sunrise breaking through storm clouds. Rosalie catches it on camera, that moment when his carefully constructed walls crumble and he looks at Bella like she hung the stars just for him. "Got it," Rosalie murmurs, lowering the camera with satisfaction. "That's the one." They end the day at Mel's Retro Diner, a chrome and neon time capsule that serves milkshakes in glasses the size of small fish bowls and plays music from when cars had fins and love songs had orchestras. Bella's yellow dress is gorgeously wrinkled from their adventure. Her cheeks are pink from sun and joy and laughter. Her stomach aches from giggling at Emmett's increasingly ridiculous poses, and she feels drunk on happiness and summer air. Emmett orders 4 milkshakes in different flavors and proceeds to drink 3 of them himself, claiming he's conducting a scientific taste test for the good of humanity. Rosalie critiques everyone's posture between bites of curly fries and still manages to kiss Emmett's cheek every few minutes, leaving perfect lip prints on his skin. Jasper leans close as Bella dips a French fry into her chocolate milkshake, his presence warm and electric beside her in the vinyl booth. "You're not supposed to do that," he murmurs, voice low enough that only she can hear. "Why not?" "It's against the fundamental laws of nature and good taste." She grins, feeling reckless and happy and completely free. "Too bad I already said yes to chaos." He tilts his head, studying her with those impossibly beautiful eyes. "You're dangerous when you're committed to something. And you like it." Without breaking eye contact, he reaches over and dips his own fry into her milkshake, the gesture somehow both innocent and devastatingly intimate. "Yes," he says simply. "I do." The admission hangs between them like a promise, sweet and dangerous as the chocolate on their lips. That night, Rosalie sends Bella a dozen photos that capture the golden afternoon in perfect detail. There are shots of her spinning in the yellow dress, running through wildflowers, laughing with her head thrown back and her hair catching the light. But there's one photo that makes her breath catch. She's mid-laugh, wildflowers scattered behind her like an impressionist painting, hair flowing in the summer breeze. And there, slightly out of focus in the background, is Jasper, leaning against that oak tree, watching her with an expression so tender and wondering that it looks like he's seeing magic for the first time. Like she's the most impossible, beautiful thing he's ever witnessed. Bella saves that photo immediately. And maybe, just maybe, she sets it as her phone background where she can see it every time she checks the time or reads a text. Just for the summer, she tells herself. Just until this golden dream ends and real life comes calling. But as she drifts off to sleep with her phone clutched against her chest, she knows she's lying. Some pictures are worth keeping forever. Chapter 5: Night Swimming and Secrets. The next note comes without warning, like a secret delivered by shadows. Bella finds it folded on her pillow when she returns from brushing her teeth, the paper still carrying the faint scent of pine needles and worn leather. His scent, wild and clean and impossibly tempting. It's midnight. Swimsuit. Quiet. She doesn't ask how it got there. Doesn't wonder if Charlie heard footsteps on the stairs or if the front door creaked. Some magic doesn't require explanation. She just stares at the note for 10 solid minutes, heart hammering against her ribs like a caged bird desperate for flight. By 11:45 p.m., Bella's slipping out the front door like a ghost, bare feet silent on the porch boards. She's wearing a hoodie over cut-off shorts, swimsuit hidden beneath like armor made of lycra and hope, towel draped over her arm like a flag of surrender. Forks at midnight is a different world entirely, mist coiled between the trees like sleeping spirits, stars peeking through the canopy in scattered diamonds, the air thick with the kind of silence that holds secrets. Jasper waits by the Jeep, leaning against it with the casual grace of someone who owns the night. He's dressed in a black t-shirt that clings to every line of his torso and swim trunks that hang low on his hips. His feet are bare, hair slightly mussed like he's been running his hands through it. His smile is small but real, and it stops her heart completely. "You came," he says, voice soft in the hushed darkness. You left a mysterious note on my pillow like some kind of romantic burglar. What was I going to do? Ignore it? You've said yes to everything else I've asked. She steps closer, drawn by the magnetic pull that seems to exist between them. Maybe I like what you're offering. He opens the passenger door with that old-fashioned chivalry that makes her pulse flutter. Then let's disappear for a while. They drive deeper into the Olympic Peninsula than she's ever been, down roads that seem to exist only in moonlight, through forests that whisper ancient secrets to anyone brave enough to listen. The Jeep's headlights carve through darkness thick as velvet, and Bella loses track of time, of direction, of everything except the man beside her and the promise of something extraordinary waiting in the night. Finally, they arrive at a hidden lake that looks like it was carved by the gods themselves, a perfect circle of mirror-black water surrounded by towering evergreens that stand like silent guardians. The moon hangs above them, full and silver, casting everything in ethereal light. Bella steps out of the Jeep and simply stares, breath catching in her throat. This looks like a dream. Jasper's smile is soft, tinged with something that might be vulnerability. It is a little. I found this place decades ago. No one else knows about it. The significance of that he's sharing his secret sanctuary with her, isn't lost on either of them. He turns away when he pulls off his shirt, but she doesn't. She can't. She tries not to be obvious about staring, but it's impossible when he looks like he was carved from moonlight and marble. His skin is pale as winter morning, lean muscle defined in ways that speak of strength barely contained. In the silver light, he seems to glow faintly like smooth stone kissed by starlight. He glances over his shoulder, catching her watching, and the knowing glint in his golden eyes makes heat pool low in her belly. You come in, Swan? Or are you gonna stand there all night cataloging my flaws? I'm still processing the fact that I've been abducted by what might actually be a folklore creature. His laugh is low, rich. Creature? Now I'm truly wounded. She rolls her eyes and pulls off her hoodie with more confidence than she feels. The night air kisses her bare skin, raising goosebumps that have nothing to do with temperature and everything to do with the way Jasper's gaze follows the movement. The lake is colder than expected when she steps in, sharp and clean and alive like being embraced by liquid starlight. The shock of it steals her breath, makes her gasp and shiver as she wades deeper. Jasper is already chest-deep, moving with the fluid grace of someone born to water, arms cutting through the surface in slow, hypnotic strokes. You didn't mention hypothermia was part of the plan, Bella chatters, teeth beginning to rattle. You didn't ask. His grin is wicked in the moonlight. Besides, you'll adjust. The human body is remarkably adaptable. Easy for you to say. You don't actually feel cold, do you? Not the way you do. They tread water in the center of the lake, surrounded by perfect silence. Feel separate from the world, like they've slipped through a crack in reality into a pocket of time where nothing else exists, where the rules of the ordinary world don't apply. Bella floats on her back, arms spread wide, staring up at the infinite tapestry of stars above them. I could live here. Just exist in this moment forever. You could, he says quietly, and something in his tone makes her think he's not entirely joking. She turns her head toward him, water lapping gently around her ears. How do you always seem so calm? So in control? Jasper doesn't answer immediately. He watches the surface of the water, the way moonlight catches in the ripples they create, like he's reading some ancient text written in silver and shadow. I'm not, he finally admits, voice rough with honesty. I feel everything. Too much most days. Every emotion, every thought, every heartbeat in a room full of people. That's why I stay quiet, why I seem distant. It's the only way to keep the flood from spilling out and drowning everyone around me. Confession hangs between them, vulnerable and raw. Bella treads closer, drawn by his openness like a moth to flame. Do you feel what I'm feeling right now? He nods, slow and reverent, eyes locked on hers. Yeah. Every racing heartbeat, every flutter of nerves, every. He swallows hard. Every moment you want to close the distance between us. And you're not afraid of it? Of this? I'm terrified of hurting you, he says, voice barely above a whisper. But not of you. Never of you, Bella. She floats closer until the distance between them vanishes completely. Moonlight reflects off his skin, painting him silver and strange and absolutely beautiful, like something out of a fairy tale, dangerous and magical in hers. I trust you, she says simply. His jaw clenches. You shouldn't. But I do. And then she's kissing him again, floating weightless in midnight water, barefoot in a hidden lake that exists outside of time. His hands come up to cradle her face, gentle but firm, as he pulls her closer until there's no space left between them. This kiss is different from the others. Deeper. Warmer. Lit by something more than fire or sunlight. Something that feels like destiny, like the universe shifting to accommodate this moment, this connection that shouldn't exist but does anyway. It's a whisper in the dark, a promise between souls that were never meant to touch but found each other despite impossible odds. When they finally break apart, breathing hard, her forehead rests against his. Water laps around them in gentle waves, the only sound in their private world. Tomorrow, she whispers, the word a question and a prayer. His voice is raw, scraped clean of pretense. Always. They don't talk on the drive back to Forks. They don't need to. The silence is full of shared secrets and silver moonlight, heavy with promises neither of them is ready to speak aloud. Bella rests her head against the window, watching the dark forest blur past, feeling like she's carrying starlight in her veins. When Jasper walks her to the front door, he doesn't kiss her goodnight. Instead, he brushes his fingers across her cheek, a touch so gentle it might have been imagined, if not for the electricity that shoots straight to her heart. Sweet dreams, darlin', he murmurs, and then he's gone, disappeared into the night like he was never there at all. That night, Bella dreams of moonlight and hidden lakes and hands that hold instead of haunt. She dreams of golden eyes and whispered confessions, of floating weightless in water that tastes like starlight. And when she wakes, she can still feel the phantom touch of his lips on hers, the memory burned into her skin like a brand she'll carry forever. The summer of yes is changing her in ways she never expected. And she's not sure she ever wants to go back to who she was before. Thank you so much for listening to The Summer of Yes. If you've enjoyed Bella and Jasper's story so far, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us grow and keeps the stories coming. And if you're ready for more, head over to part 2 for the rest of the adventure. More chaos, more kisses, and a summer neither of them will ever forget. We'll see you there.